My name is Eric Shuford, and you are in Voiceover Agent Talks. Today, we're going to be speaking with Portia Scott and Pat Brady. And this should be a fun and engaging conversation about all things voiceover representation and also touching on things that are happening in the industry today. We'll start off by introducing today's moderator. So it is Wendy Rosoff. Wendy is currently the co-host of the West of Broadway podcast on the celebrated Broadway Podcast Network, as well as co-host of the pre-pandemic podcast known as Two in the Solo Booth, which she and I recorded together, literally inside the solo booth at the Don LaFontaine Voiceover Lab. Very tight space, but it was a lot of fun. After a long hiatus, Wendy is thrilled to come back to voiceover work with a focus on animation. Some of her on-camera credits include Fresh Off the Boat, The Good Place, and Veep. And her Broadway stage credits include the Tony Award-winning revival of 42nd Street, A Christmas Carol at Madison Square Garden, and My Favorite Broadway. She is a director, choreographer, and passionate educator, proud member of AEA, SAG-AFTRA, and AGVA, and the prestigious Musical Theater Guild in Los Angeles. Let's welcome Wendy Rosoff.
Thank you, Eric. I'm so excited to be here and to be able to have this conversation with these two amazing women. So I'm going to begin by reading bios, and then we're going to dive right in. So Portia Scott is the Director of Voiceover at Coast to Coast Talent Group, where she runs the division with a great staff representing both adult and youth talent in all areas of voiceover. The talent she represents works as series regulars for Disney TV animation, Nickelodeon Cartoon Network, Dreamworks TV animation, and have been in a multitude of acclaimed animated feature films that include Over the Moon and Academy Award winners Toy Story and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. A native of Los Angeles, Portia earned her Bachelor of Arts degree in theater from California State University, Long Beach, and later a Master's of Arts in theater from New York University's famed Circle in the Square Theater School. And Pat Brady. 2020 marks Pat Brady's 40th year as a talent agent. Her journey began as a voiceover agent, then on-camera agent, and eventually her path led her back to her first love, voiceover. She was soon running Don Pitts' voices at KSA and would later join CESD as an animation and puppeteer agent. After 8 years, she was promoted to VP of New Business thanks to her innovative thinking and vision of bringing VO talent live to the public with Talkin' Tunes. Pat represents some of the best talent in the world, including Kevin Michael Richardson, Fred Tatasciore, Kari Walgren, Pamela Adlon, Greg Berger, and many, many more. Pat lives in Los Angeles with her talented husband, voice actor Bob Joles. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thrilled to have you here. And as I said, we have so much good stuff to dive into. So let's get right into it. Voiceover in the time of COVID. How is this part of the industry doing?
Well, for me, it's the busiest I've ever been. I mean, literally ever been.
Ever.
It's, because y'all can do it at home. And even animation is being done at home, though, thank God, a lot of our studios are open, recording studios. But the opportunities for actors who are outside the city of Los Angeles is breathtaking. It truly is. We've never, ever even considered it for animation before. Now, if you have a state-of-the-art studio, you have the right connections, you've got the talent, and you live in Utah, you have a shot.
Mm-hmm. To piggyback on that, I've never been as busy ever. We're so busy that we actually had to hire another voiceover agent. Yep. Because I was like, I can't do all of this. So we hired, which I'd been wanting for a while, a dedicated commercial voiceover agent, because commercial voiceover is just blowing up, insanely busy. So as Pat says, we're now my theatrical department, which I represent a lot of clients in that area. And a lot of them live, out of town, and they do self tapes and send them in. Well, as long as they get a set up with the studio at home, we're booking, they're working. And even in some cases, if it's Dallas, if it's Austin, if they're, smaller markets, but still very populous, they're even, the studios are finding studios to record in those cities. And that would have never been a possibility prior to this pandemic. So the opportunities are in triplicate, I would say.
There's six agents. We have 6 voiceover agents in our division in Los Angeles alone. New York is like a mirror image. So there's 3 animation agents. There's 1 video game agent. There's 2 commercial agents. There's a promo trailer narration agent. And everybody is busy. I mean, from the promo guys, the commercial guys, the video game guys, and sadly, our on-camera department, like every other on-camera department commercially, is not as busy. It's starting to pick up a little bit, and theatrical, same thing. But boy, it's us. It's the voiceover department, and it's so easy doing it from home. I miss Kathy, my business partner. I don't get to talk to her face to face, but it's all about the safety, and we're doing it. And, and people are putting money into their careers Portia, for the first time in years, huh? I
mean, I'm telling you, we were, prior to the pandemic, coast to coast talent. We were, pretty much 97% of my clients did their records from home. We had sort of stopped using the booth just because the turnarounds were coming quicker and quicker, and just that whole process of bringing people in, waiting, recording, doing it was too laborious. And so people were going out to voice casters or local studios to record, or they were building their home studio a little bit at a time. And I was like, get that home studio together, you're going to have better opportunities, more opportunities. And so now March 11th, March 13th hit, and you couldn't buy a mic online.
Yeah, I know.
It's like gone, so it's
exactly
quite a time.
Well, it's a silver lining for sure.
For us.
And for this community, which is at least something we can hold on to. Part of our creativity and part of the income of the industry, I think it's a bright spot for sure. And since you brought it up, I'd love to explore a little bit more for our folks who don't have home studios yet. With the pandemic came all of these expectations of voiceover talent to pull it together. And it had to happen fast. And there was this kind of like crazy run on mics and everything that we needed. So from having source connected home to having a home recording studio, what are the essential skills and equipment that actors on your roster need in order to be competitive right now today?
I wish I could tell you that. I have very smart young men working for me who could tell you that.
Okay.
All I know is that we had a pseudo home studio here for Bob, and $3,000 later, I've got a big old studio here for Bob. The situation is that, like I said, animation's being done from home too, but we had 3 full-time booths working until March 12th, full-time. And we have still 2 full-time booth directors, and they're directing from home. Very few agencies are doing this, whereas an actor gets a piece of copy and they really want to be directed, but they know they have to do it from home. They will call in to one of our booth directors, make an appointment, and then be directed by Zoom or by speakerphone to get their character right, to work on their character. So that's a good thing. That's one thing that we offer. And it's a top priority to a lot of animation actors. I know that we've gone through hell when it comes to getting the right mics, echoes, the whole bit. But right now, like Portia said, I think about 90% of our clients have got it down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's really a requirement is to be able to record, because what I start to see now, because of the new shelter in place orders that are coming down, now I see we were going back out to the studios, out loud, where have you, to be able to record. Now I'm starting to go back to the home records for the jobs now, because we're going to be in this sort of dark time where the numbers are doubling, and or the hospitals are so at capacity, God forbid, please don't break your foot, don't do anything, because you might not be seen. So I think that I anticipate, we're going to go down in a couple of weeks anyway for the holiday, but somehow I don't think we're really going to go down. I think things are still going to come in.
Oh, it's
and I think crazy. Right. And then come January, February, I think that we're going to see a double down on these stay-at-home orders. Mm-hmm. So I think we're going to probably be going back to home records. So, it's essential to have your home setup ready to go, ready to rock. No, I'll buy it when I book the job. No, because then you have a learning curve. So I just get yourself ready and in position to work.
What I want for Christmas is a really good mic.
Yeah,
exactly. I think
it probably to Source Connect.
I think it probably is the very best investment that one could make at this point, is acting as if you're already a booking maniac and getting your setup exactly what it needs to be.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Because what happens is, it's classic. The avail comes in, we send the home studio specs. If there's, listen, don't give them a reason to go to their B choice on the avail.
Right.
I see a lot of people are asking the question, the specific mic and what do we need to buy? That's not what Portia and I do.
I send it to young, fabulous people who tell you what to get.
Exactly. My right hand, Sam, he can tell you exactly what you need. I can't tell you that. I can bring Bob in from the other room, but he's not going to waste my time.
I also think that the SAG-AFTRA Foundation has done a few talks on this, and they're an amazing resource. So for my fellow actors out there that need a little loving on this, please reach out to the foundation and they can be of service to us. Yeah. Great. So because of what's going on, is there any particular niche in voiceover that is producing the most work opportunities, or is it just a general explosion?
Oh, I would say animation.
Yeah, animation. They're just doubling down on the amount of shows. I just can't even believe, and constantly new buyers, new people. I'm like, oh, who are they? Oh, okay, they're producing animation now. Excellent. So it's animation.
We've had 2 to 3 years now of constant animation streaming. So Netflix, Amazon, before that, Portia and I can tell you, it was all Disney, Cartoon Network, DreamWorks. But now we're dealing with Netflix and all these other streaming platforms. And it is crazy. Everybody wants animation, but you have to remember, so do the celebrities. The celebrities also want to do as much animation as possible because they've got nothing better to do right now.
Right.
And they'll do it for your amount of money, guys. So the better you are, the better it is.
Yeah.
So that actually brings me to my next question, which is attached to that. So because again, pandemic and on-camera work is dried up and celebrities and journeyman on-camera actors are turning to voiceover. Mm-hmm. And particularly since so much of it can be done remotely, it's opened up globally to seasoned voice actors around the world, as well as on-camera folks. So how can newer VO folks break through and get on your radar?
The number one word I use, and I've used this for 40 years to get my attention, is your versatility.
Yeah.
You need to know, first and foremost, I only work union. And the union rules are 2 voices for the price of 1 in an animation, 3 voices for the price of 1 in a video game. You need to be so versatile that you can be the screaming duck and you can be the cop that arrests the screaming duck. It's so important. And when you approach an agent, when it comes to your demos or whatever like that, we're listening to you guys, not your producer. No bells and whistles. You got to cut all that crap off. You need to have as much versatility as you can. And that's what's going to move you ahead. Okay, I'm going to have a little story. About 25 years ago, I was doing a class for a wonderful woman named Dolores Steele, a very small commercial voiceover workshop. And this one kid was amazing, but not so much commercially. So there was a girl in the background. She said, "Hey, do your Ross Perot." Okay, at that time he was running for president. Well, Keith Ferguson did the best Ross Perot I've ever heard. Now, this is a man who had never done voiceover before. He just was taking a class. I had him in my office the next morning. I get a call. They needed a Keanu Reeves voice match for a commercial. He went in my booth. He auditioned for it. He booked the job. He got his SAG card, and he got an agent all within a 5-hour period of time.
Wow.
So it can happen. And he has worked nonstop for 25 years. So it's the versatility.
Yeah, I agreed. And I coming from an acting background, want you to be training, to be working on your craft, to be developing your craft, and so that you do have that range, because it's so competitive. So I mean, just now, not only are we competing against all of our Los Angeles amazing agencies, we're also competing now on a wider stage, because everyone is putting in all around the country, all around the world, essentially, for the roles. So your skill set has to be sharp. You have to be working on that skill set all the time, developing your actor's toolkit.
Exactly. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
It's so important. I was a theater arts major. I wanted to grow up and be Dorothy Loudon on Broadway. That's all I planned to do. Then I got married and had a baby. But cut to, the thing is that when you're listening to an actor and you can't tell it's the same actor from the very first segment to the last segment, that's brilliance.
Yeah.
I keep on seeing the question come up over and over again about how long should your demo be? It should never be more than 1 minute. The attention span nowadays is nil. And that has a lot to do with the choices that we have on television and stuff like that. I mean, I zap through my TiVo. Bob thinks I'm going to have an epileptic seizure because I'm like looking at it so fast. You need to really concentrate on your talent and doing things like this. This is not costing you guys a cent to listen to Portia and I talk about what we do. This is very important for you guys to continue. No matter who you are, no matter what your scale is up there. I mean, if you're a series regular on Grey's Anatomy, or you just got out of high school and you want to do this, you have to keep training.
Yeah, always. I always say that Meryl Streep still does chair exercise. She's a method actress and hugely successful, acclaimed actress, and still does the basics. And I think that if you keep tethered to the basics and keep growing upon that and building that toolkit and learning to be, what the lead of the show, what that read sounds like, as opposed to a guest role, as opposed to a utility role. Having that understanding as well, I think is important. And positioning your demo with that, what your brand is in that respect is important as well. So
watch cartoons. I don't think anybody ever told you to do it, but I'm demanding you need to watch cartoons.
Yes.
And now what's so fun is that with all of our streaming platforms, you can access everything from the oldest Looney Tunes to something that came out yesterday. I mean, there's just so much amazing research that you can do from the laziness of your house in your pajamas. So you said something, Pat, about the length of the demo reel being no longer than 1 minute.
I know y'all think that, I've got so many voices. How can you cut me to 1 minute? It's got to happen. You can't have a very long demo because they listen to you in the first 4 seconds in a commercial demo. That's how I feel about it. And the first 20 seconds of animation demo, either you're in or out.
Yeah.
So true. So completely true. Yeah. I was saying, agreeing.
Totally. Yeah. So I guess my next question would be, and I think you've kind of answered it, because if it's a minute long, it's a minute long, but is it necessary to have a separate animation and a separate interactive, or can you combine those two ideas at this point?
I prefer separate, mostly because, I don't do the video games anymore. Samit Iyengar in my office does, and that's what he's going to listen to. If he's doing a video game that they have a very cartoony character, like a Cuphead type of thing, he will listen to the animation demo. But it's not that big a deal to do your commercial, animation, and video game demos separate. It really isn't that big a deal.
Yeah. Agreed. I'd prefer them separately as well, because they're different areas and we're listening for different things. And if it's all jumbled together, I just kind of get annoyed and I'm like, okay, bye. So.
Great, fair enough. Is there something in general, or it can be micro or macro, is there something that you wish more actors understood about what you do as a voiceover agent?
It's not personal.
Yeah.
It's never personal. If you submit to an agent and they either don't get back to you or they pass on you, believe me, it's not because they don't like the way your hair looks. It's not because of the way what kind of car you drive. No, it's nothing personal. It's what we need, when we need it, and how good are you? I've had cover letters on email and in hand that are just, Pat Brady, thank you very much, blah, 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 blah. And here's my demo. And that's fine. Not like, hey, I know about the Brady Bunch. Here's the song. That crap.
Yeah, don't be
ain't
cute.
gonna happen.
Don't be cute. Don't be cute. I'm not crazy about that. Just cut to it. Do you know what I mean? A little tiny cover letter, resume, please, and your demo. Also, no, I see what's happening. A lot of actors are calling the agency and leaving voicemail messages. And just so you know, I will not be returning calls from my mobile, because that's all we have, because we're not in the office. Also, no, we're not in the office right now. We are all working from home. So, just email submissions. That is the best way. And if you send it and we don't hear back from us, once again, it's just not personal. It's just not the right fit at the time.
Yeah. And don't expect feedback. If I was to give feedback to every submission, I would never be able to work for the clients that I do have. I can't sit and listen and take your demo apart for you. Go to your teacher. Go to the person who's taught you the most. If you have an engineer, go to your engineer if you want feedback.
Do you both have folks that you love for training and or producing demo reels?
Sure.
Oh, that's such a tough one, because that puts us in a very difficult position, because if we recommend one person, then another recording producer will be upset with us, that kind of crap.
Got it.
If you are a working professional in any area of the business, I recommend the Voice Actors Network, because they have the classes are taught by a casting director every week, a different one. Mm-hmm. And of course, everything that SAG-AFTRA offers. Now that's free. Voiceover Actors Network, it's not free.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd have to say the same. I mean, there's so many that we refer out. I have a set list, but I'm not going to sit here and bore you and give you all the people that we work with. It's just finding your network, where you fit. There are all kinds of wonderful online opportunities right now as well. And obviously the foundation is offering a lot of opportunities that are cost free. So.
And Portia, I'm sure you did these workout groups that the actors are doing.
Yeah, the workout groups are amazing.
Oh, dude, those things are amazing. Yeah. And they're doing it on Zoom, so they don't have to cop up the rent of a studio. Yeah. That's always held actors back. Now they can just do it like we're doing this.
Yep. I'll just throw out one name, Burgers Reels LA. They are amazing. Work week. I think they have 2 workouts a week. So that's I'll drop that one there. So
fantastic. Thank you. Great. So going back to your current roster, what, if there is any tangible, what does the most successful talent on your roster do that separates them from the pack? And is there a secret to their success in addition to obviously having incredible voices?
Well, I mean, like the people that you mentioned before, like Kevin Michael Richardson, Fred Tatasciore, and Keith Ferguson, Nolan North, those guys are very, very, very versatile. Then there's the Pamela Adlon of the world. Pammy can do a lot of voices, but she's got one voice that kills, and she's not a one-trick pony, but boy, that pony she rides is amazing, because she can do Bobby and King of the Hill and turn around and do anything else. Yeah. And that's really, really important. Like I said from the beginning, it's the versatility. Right now, What we are looking for is diversity.
Mhm.
I don't know if you're aware of this, but Disney put out an email to all the agents saying we are concentrating on diversity, to the LGBTQ plus community, to disabled community. It's amazing how it's opened up in my 40 years.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I would say, we recently booked, I can't say the show or the actor, but because it's not closed yet, but we recently booked a pretty iconic show that's going to introduce a new character. And the competition was very fierce in this situation. And I got the call, you never know when you get the call from the casting the same day of the callback, you're not sure which way that's gonna go. It's like, oh shit, or okay, great.
Oh yeah.
But the note came back that my client took the character in a way that they hadn't even thought about for the character. So, which is the best, whether she booked that job or not, at that point, I was like, well, work is done. That's your goal, I think, as the actor, is to go in and show up in a way and present character in a way that makes the room go, oh my goodness, we haven't even thought about that for this character. So that is an amazing gift and tool. And she went on to book it. And so that, be striving for that result in your work. I think striving for that kind of diversity in your work, creativity in your work, stretching beyond what is expected is something that I'm happy to say, that my client and clients have been able to find that for themselves in that respect. In answer to your question as well.
About a couple of years ago, there was a breakdown for Marvel Spider-Man animation, and it was a character who was a female little person. So on my roster, I didn't have any little people. So I called my friend, Mark Povinelli, who's the head of the Little People of America. And I said, can you name off an actress who'd be interested that I can audition? Well, her name was Kat Kemp, and she came in and she auditioned and she got the part. And Colette said, it's the first time that they've ever hired a little person to play a little person on this show. And I was so proud of that, because she's a great actress, and not because she's a little person, but not all little people sound like munchkins. And that's what we were trying to get across. And so that's the kind of diversity I'm talking about. I just saw a little message from one young lady here who said, well, I'm queer. Do I have to tell you that in my cover letter? Well, you know what? You can tell me anything you want to in your cover letter. I'm not outing you by any way, shape, or form, but casting directors are being very politically correct about it. If you have somebody who's out and proud on any level, tell the casting director.
Well, and this is all part of the Disney and the Disney it's a mandate, that they want 50% diversity from their even corporate side all the way down to the talent side. So it's, I being of, a Black woman, have for years been submitting all ethnicities for roles, even when it wasn't called for, just to be able to broaden those opportunities, and made some, headway in that respect. So it is really lovely now to have these opportunities come in more and more. And in some ways, if you are, of the LGBTQ community, you have to now let us know. It's not something that I don't want to have to ask, but it's not like color where we can see it and we can know, okay, that's clear. So we do need to know, because I'm getting the non-binary roles. I don't have enough talent to supply for the amount of demand that is coming for non-binary, and that's non-binary in youth and adults. Wow. And I'm like going, okay, how do I find out who's 8 and non-binary? So we're being met with these new wonderful challenges. And so the more you tell us about, your orientation, the helpful it'll be in terms of building our roster.
I just saw a question there about agents demanding Source Connect. We can't demand shit from you people. Seriously, guys, we can't. We're just not. It's like we can't say you can only go to Chuck Duran for your demo. We can't do that. Our hands are tied, and it's a good thing. But if you want to be successful and be proactive and be competitive, so you got to have Source Connect. But we're not going to say I won't represent you if you don't have Source Connect.
But just know that you won't have the opportunities to work.
Yeah.
Will not be as great without Source Connect. So you have to decide, do you want to work? Do you want representation? And if you do, then that's a tool that you need in order to.
Even in the labeling of my files when I'm submitting my auditions, you have to put exactly what you have and what you don't have at this point, right?
Yep.
Yes.
It's all on your signature.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you look at the commercial signature, she lays it all out.
And read that. If when we send out emails, read everything, because they have to be saved as requested. That is a thing that really I could pull all of my hair out.
This is great, because I'd love to just chat a little bit about these little pet peeves that, as actors, particularly newbies, we get so excited for the audition and we kind of skim over what is actually incredibly important in order to push the audition through. So are there a few things that you could discuss that kind of streamline your process to make sure that things are moving as they should?
Oh yeah, Portia hit it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Read your effing email. Seriously, guys, read it word for word, because casting directors are different.
That's right.
Linda LaMontagne wants it this way, and if she doesn't get it, she doesn't get what she wants, she's not going to listen to it, period.
Nope.
And then we're the ones who get yelled at because we're supposed to be the ones to fix it. Well, guess what? In this day and age, if you can't do it right, don't do it at all. It's a pain in the ass to us if you do not read the instructions of what we're giving you. And my biggest pet peeve is, Pat, I did 5 takes on this. I just did the right one. Seriously,
I'm not gonna listen to all those. Not happening.
You know what? If I'll take a Pat. Here's 2 choices. What do you think? Okay, fine, and if it's important enough, I'll listen to it. But don't give me 5. Please, guys, don't do it.
Yeah, you got to read the email. You have to, if it's a mocap, don't send me a damn MP3. If I put .mov, that means, and it says mocap, then you have to videotape yourself. Okay, that is, don't assume anything. Take the information and follow the directions. That's the thing that I would say notoriously actors need to work on, is following the exact directions and not assuming because the last email said do it this way, Portia, but this email says do it that way. And I said, yes, that's for a reason. It's a different studio wants it saved in a different way. And when I'm downloading so many projects and I don't have the booth directors, it is me downloading all of that.
I love you.
And I'm telling you, and if it's not correct, it's deleted.
Yeah.
And there's no note. I'm not emailing you saying you didn't do it right and it's deleted. And then, down the road, if you're wondering why you're not getting callbacks, and I'm like, because I'm deleting your shit, it's wrong.
Also,
Woof.
seriously, dude, I just saw a question saying, well, does everything go to the casting director? Well, sometimes, they're open, but I got to tell you, please limit it to 5. That's one casting director who's famous for that.
Yes, and we know who that is.
Yeah, or limit it to 5 to 7. Another one, and there's another one that's Disney, when they say you got
10.
11. We do have to limit it, folks, and we are the ones who choose. I can have 30 people read the same piece of copy, and then I have to submit only 5. It is completely biblical. I just don't want to cut off the baby. I really don't, but I have to.
Yeah.
And it's not always the tops with pops. It's not always the Freds or the Karis or, the Nika Futtermans. No, if I hear what I think the casting director is going to want to hear, that's the one that's going forward. So yeah, and I got to listen to them all. And it's not easy, folks. It's so time consuming.
So, and that's the same for me as well. When they say, please only deliver 5, and I've sent the audition out to, maybe 40. And so I have to narrow down to 5. And it's good that you hear this information, not as, oh my God, I'm, as a non-possibility. Hear this information as to knowing that your work, what you do has to, you have to really dig in, and don't go with the broad stroke, first choice, second choice. Dig in, see what other options this character has outside of all the obvious choices that are going to be made, and be the one that makes me go, oh my God, well, that's going no matter what. Yep. Because we're also not I know, Pat, you're probably doing the same thing. You're trying to, from your agency, send a range. I'm not trying to send everybody hitting the same beats and the same notes. I want to be able to think about, oh, okay, this is for Disney. Here's some options, not all just the same, read for each client. So
it's so true, Portia. I mean, and they all want to hear new people.
Yes.
They all really love it. Because, God love Gray Delisle. She's a genius. She is a genius, and she's on every show. But even she welcomes new people. She's a great actress. And if a new person comes into the studio with her, she is all over them. I got to say one thing about this whole voiceover world. We are, without a doubt, the best of everything when it comes to people. We don't fight. There's no agency fights. We get along really great. And when it comes to the actors, I mean, Wendy, you can tell, there's nothing better than working with your friends, and they all become your friends.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is absolutely one of the best parts of this niche of the industry, without a doubt. Totally agree. Yeah. All right. So before we get to some Q&A, ladies, I would love to hear, if you could share 1 or 2 of the most rewarding experiences that you've had to date as a voiceover agent. Pat, you've already spoken about a few tremendous successes, but
Keith Ferguson
is my favorite story, and my Katrina Kemp. So have at it, Portia.
Yeah, I will say it's with regards to the show The Casa Grandes on Nickelodeon. There's a character, Ronnie Ann, and we had the actress who played Ronnie Ann on The Loud House when they were part of The Loud House, and then they did the spinoff and got their own series. And so that actress had voiced out. And so, of course, that's always my biggest nightmare, is when my clients voice out and I'm trying to replace my own job. But certainly a good opportunity. And so I had another actress, and they wanted to have this actress be Latinx, fully. So we and I was like, oh my God, I know exactly who this is. Great act, this is her. She hadn't really done a lot of voiceover, mostly live action. And I was like, this is her. And so I pitched her. I went to her and I said, okay, there's this. She goes, but I don't speak Spanish. And I said, well, I said, it's okay. If they fall in love with you, they'll figure it out. And her parents both speak Spanish. And I said, so you could get some help from them. And so she was really kind of reticent and didn't want to audition. And I said, listen, this is your role. This is it. You're going to book this. I promise you. And so she went through, she auditioned. As soon as I sent her audition in, they were like, call back. And I said, I told you. And so we went on to book the role. So it was just a really, it's a great story, because I had an actress who was like, yeah, I can't really do this. And I was like, no, I know, this is your role. So it was a good one to win. And it's a good story. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So we've got some questions for you. The first is it important or necessary for actors to have websites and to be active on social media? Does that impress you?
Yeah, it does, because oh gosh, Portia, was about a year ago, Disney was asking for people's numbers.
Yeah, that's right.
What's your Instagram number? What's your social media numbers? Yeah, it is. And it, you know what? Everybody should have a website, because, you know, on our website, CESD's website, you know, we'll put up your demo, but on your own website, you can put up a ton of demos. You can put up a bunch of stuff. You can put up clips of your cartoons. If you go to Chris Edgerly's website, you'll see all the cartoons he's been in and the little clips, and because he's a series regular on The Simpsons, so you see his Simpsons characters. That makes a tool for me when I'm pitching him. Instead of just sending his demo, here's his website. You know everything there is to know about this guy.
Well, yeah, and lots of the studios, you know, Pixar for one, and others, when they have a breakdown, they want to, they're like, okay, send us some samples, send us some information. Before we send you the material, we want to, here's the role, and send us your suggestions. And there are a bunch of others that do it this way now. So I have to gather headshots and resumes, which is a pain in the ass because we're voiceover. But if you have a website with all of your stuff on it, I can go, here's the link. Boom. I'm done. Here's the name. Here's the link. So it's a tool for us to be able to promote you or get opportunity before we even get the material. That's what that is now. There's a lot excuse me, there's a lot more of that going on than just here are the sides, record the actors, send us back the material. Now we're having to do a lot of pitches before they release material, because then they tell us, based on my list of people I've sent with content, then they say, from that list, we want to have so-and-so, so-and so-and-so read the copy. So the more comprehensive of a package I have on you to send, the better your opportunity.
Oh, that's such good information. Thank you.
Also, I want to put something else in there that we didn't cover before. If you have management, we will not send copy to your manager. Boom. We sign NDAs up the ass. We were not going to take any chances of losing the credibility with our casting directors or our studios. So if we have copy for your talent, talking to as a manager, you will not see the copy. If we have avails, if we have bookings or outside appointments, of course, the manager gets those. But I just wanted to throw that in there. We sign NDAs, and we're not going to take the chance of anybody blowing it. And if an actor shares it with a manager and the manager shares it with other clients, we will drop that actor.
Yeah. Indeed, because, you know, Pixar requires that the sides, if you print them, are shredded.
Yes, and they're watermarked.
Yeah. So it's real business that. Don't mess around with that. Yeah.
Wow. Yes. And yes. And since you mentioned the horrible word drop, can you give us a few examples of, not specific, obviously, but what would, besides what you just mentioned, which is, of course, what would constitute being dropped?
Well, we CESD signs GSAs, California contracts. And their first ones are 18 months. And within that 18-month period of time, if the actor's not happy with us or we're not happy with the actor, then we come to a decision. Our drops are mainly based on financial gain. If you have not worked in X amount of years, we're not the people for you. If you're not booking, there's something wrong here. In only a few cases, I'm not kidding you, Wendy, like in 20 years, I think we've only dropped somebody like twice for personal reasons, because they opened their mouth or they did something stupid or whatever. But it's usually, if you're not booking, you got to go. And there's going to be an agent out there. I mean, like Trish Esposito may be better than I am for you. Or, you know, Natanya Rose may be better than I am for you. So there's not a lot of us voiceover agents, and we're very lucky about that.
Yeah.
But sometimes it just works out that way, right, Portia?
Yeah, agreed. Someone could be on my roster and not booking, and then they go to Pat, and then they start booking. It just happens, and
Chemistry
yeah, it
sometimes.
is.
Yeah.
Chemistry, and it's also, after a while, if you're on the roster and you haven't booked, it's a business, and we only make money when you book.
Yep.
So and as much as I'd love to hold and coddle everyone, it's business doesn't.
It's a business.
It's a business.
But and then there's actors who are special in the sense that they have, they're very, very talented and they're great at accents. Thank you, Christian Barillis. I saw you in the room. But that's somebody that if they're not booking like crazy, it doesn't matter because there's going to be a spot for that person.
Right. The specialty. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, great. Let's get back to some more questions. Here's one. Are either of you involved in loop group bookings? If so, how do we get involved in them? With mocap performance capture, how has the pandemic, this is kind of a two-parter, how has the pandemic changed that niche of the industry, and how are actors accommodated for those roles?
Well, when it comes, we don't represent loop groups per se. We don't represent an entire loop group. We work with the loop group casting directors. So I'll get a call from Georgia Simon saying she needs this, or Terry Douglas needs that, or Barbara Harris needs this. That's how we work with loop groups, because 90% of loop groups, or more than that, 95% of loop groups don't pay plus 10%. I'm not going to work my ass off for nothing. So that's one thing. When it comes to mocap, like I said, the gentleman that I work with, he does all that, but they're working.
Yeah, they're auditioning. That's for sure.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yep. There's auditioning, and the same thing here at Loop. We just work with Terry Douglas, Barbara Harris, Johnny Gitcomb. We work with the casting directors. They call us and say, "Hey, we need a voice match for Sister Alice." And so we listen to the clip and we send it out to the roster and see who books the job. So that's kind of how loop groups are done, I think, at the agency level in that respect.
Yeah. And my understanding as well is that loop groups are quite insular, and casting directors and folks who are in charge of the loop groups have kind of their favorite people. And when they're looking for something specific, then they reach out. Is that accurate? Okay. Great.
Yeah, that's when they call us. But you have to remember, the reason why everybody wants to be in a loop group is because you can be doing a looping session for 4 hours, say, on a major feature film, and you're getting paid scale. All right, that's $1,030. Now, your residuals are going to be based on the same amount of residuals the guy who stood in the hot heat for 8 hours playing a cop with one line. He's going to get residuals. You are too. And you were in a booth and you worked for maybe 4 hours. It is literally the most lucrative end of voiceover.
Absolutely. Residual base.
So yummy. Great. All right. What are your thoughts on self-produced demos? Good idea, bad idea? Any criteria in that area that you find vital?
Good idea. It's fine with me. Like I said,
if you're good at it,
do
good
it.
idea if you're good at it.
Yeah. And if we listen to it and it piques our interest and we think you need to update your demo, then you do what your agent tells you to do.
And it also goes right back to, maybe you don't have the money to go spend $1,800, $3,000 on a demo, but if you've got good acting and you have good work, I can hear good work, and I can hear, sound production may not be the best, this, that, and the other, but at the core of it, the work is good. I'm not gonna, if that's a economic thing, I'm not gonna, nudge you out because maybe there's a financial situation with you. But if the work is good, we can figure it out.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Here's one. Are actors you represent able to have other agents in regional markets?
Yes.
Pain in my ass, but it's a pain in the ass.
We're not encouraging it, but it's, it's because of the studio rule. You can have an agent outside this, our zone. You can have an agent in Los Angeles. You can have an agent in San Francisco. Then you can have an agent in Seattle, Chicago, Atlanta, New York. That's the way it is. It's very beneficial to people who are in regional cities because they can work locally, but you have to have your mother agency. You have to have your base agency. So if you're assigned to CESD and I get a breakdown for commercially, say Bo gets a breakdown for McDonald's and it's a McDonald's in Texas, and at the same time your agent in Austin sent you the same copy, we get first dibs.
Yep,
You
that's
need to know that whoever your mother agent is gets first dibs. Now, if you get a piece of copy from your Austin agent, you call Bo and say, I got this copy from McDonald's for Austin, and she'll say, you know what, I didn't get it because they're only working on regional. Knock yourself out. We're really, really good about that.
And it's really important the key fact, because I had this happen twice this year, where the actors submitted through us and through their regional, and it happened twice, and I was like, it's our job, and we booked it.
Yeah.
And we booked it. And I'm like, it's a coast to coast job, period. The end. We are the mother agency here in Los Angeles. So that to say is communication with your agent. If your, Denver agent has sent you the same Sound and Fury copy as your other agent, you have to communicate. Are you covering this? That's the thing. It's good for the actors, but it's a real pain in the ass. I'm going to tell you.
It really is. By the way, I just saw Sean had asked a question about editing. You edit yourself, dude. Don't expect me to edit for you. Really important. You edit yourself.
Yeah, that's never happening. That's a delete. That's a delete.
Pat, I'm so obsessed with your no beat around the bush style. Get it.
Believe me, I've been called on the carpet and called a lot of names because of it. I'm just, I really am. I'm a grandma. I'm a very nice person, but I just have no patience.
I'm from New York, and so this is just like making me so happy.
And I'm like Portia. I'm from here. I was born in Hollywood and raised in Palm Springs. I went to high school in Glendale. So, but everybody thinks I'm from New York because the way I talk. I always thought Portia was from Chicago.
Oh no, I'm native, born and raised.
Oh, I'm so happy.
Yeah. I went to Westchester High School. Yeah.
Okay, just a few more, ladies, if you don't mind. Do you recommend voice match demos?
Oh, that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a wonderful thing. And I keep on feeling like I'm name dropping, though I don't think I'm name dropping, but it's like I've got Piotr Michael. Piotr Michael is a voice matcher like you wouldn't believe, and you can look him up. He works nonstop because, ladies and gentlemen who are watching, you need to realize, here's George Clooney. He got paid $20 million to do this movie. And in his contract, it says that he will perform his ADR for no more money. Well, why should he bother? So he's not going to go and do the ADR when they can have Piotr or Jim Meskimen or Jess Harnell, something like that, do it for them. Yeah. So yes, it's imperative. If you can do dead on voice matching, do it.
Demo is really helpful, just so that we know. Do you know what I mean? If that's your forte, in voice matching, then put that on a demo and get that over stat. I'd be happy to listen to those myself.
You got that right.
So if you got them, send them.
You can never have too many. I mean, there's I've got guys who can voice match a lot, but don't voice match dead people. I'm glad you can do a great W.C. Fields. Oh, sorry, honey. I know that you can do a great W.C. Fields, but you know what? He's dead.
He's dead, and that's gonna rarely come up.
Thank you.
That's not gonna come up too often. So.
Okay, so follow-up question: how often should we be updating our voiceover demos?
As if you're talking about an animation reel, if you're just as time changes, the industry changes, it shifts. Just make sure that your contemporary in your demo reflects the current vibe in animation. Obviously, commercials, if you've got spots on there, I would say try not to put holiday spots on your commercial reel just because it dates them. So I think just sort of as trends change, keep it fresh, maybe every 2 years, every 3 years.
With me with animation is, to me, it's only updated when you get a really great part. It's like if you've got a great part on a show that's lasting, like The Loud House or Casa Grandes or even Big City Greens, you have a recognizable role in that, you put it into your demo.
Yeah.
Is it something that would be helpful? These little tiny clips, individual clips, like for me as an on-camera actor, I have individual clips of gigs that I've done, TV gigs, so that it really fits a niche should casting need it. My agents like to have that. Is that something that is appealing for you, or can live on an actor's website where you can just pull one tiny clip?
Like I said, Chris Edgerly, that's all he's got. He's got all his cartoons up there. So, yeah, it's very beneficial.
Yeah, on a website, I have gotten the occasional commercial reels that are now video. I kind of like those. I think that's kind of interesting. I'm sort of an old school person. I like to hear it and not see it, because I feel like I make a different opinion when I see it, as opposed to a more honest opinion when I hear it. But those have been kind of interesting, though, I will say.
Wendy, earlier you asked me about my pet peeve. My biggest pet peeve when it comes to demos is having another person in the scene with you. I let loose on this guy the other day who sent his stuff, and he had a baby doing baby noises in the background, and I paid no attention whatsoever to him. I was listening to the baby. And then he had a one-on-one with a woman, like the margarine ad. No, I don't. Is she up for representation? Because right now she's blowing you out of the water, dude. So do it. Do your demos, only your voice.
Yeah.
Great. Such good information. Thank you. All right. And our final question to wrap it up. This has gone so quickly. And thank you so much for all of this incredible insight. What is your submission process for actors seeking representation?
You send your demos to either to the website, which is cesdtalent.com, and you go to CESD Voices, or you send it directly to the emails of whoever if it's a commercial, then you send it to the commercial agents. If it's animation, you send it to the animation agents. And, on our website is all our emails. I made the mistake of, I just did one of these a while ago, and I popped out my email address, and I got over 150 things. And I said, I didn't invite you to do it. Just make sure that if you're going to send something, it better be ready, because if I don't like what you've said or what it sounds like, you're gone to me. You are persona non grata. I will never listen to you again.
Yeah, I mean, you demos, if they're, animation and or commercial demos, don't send me promo, don't send me trailers. It's not our house specialty. We leave that to the other greats in town. But yeah, if you would send a demo, just make sure that it's you've got a resume, you have a very short cover letter, short by like 3 sentences, and it's good content. If you're just, working on it, trying to figure it out, don't send it.
So essentially, know thyself and be very, very careful.
Be ready.
There's a question here. I always ask for a resume, and not just a VO resume. I want an acting resume. Great. If you're submitting to me for animation, I need to know that you've had the training and that you can act.
Agreed. I'm looking for that. In fact, I'm looking at those training areas before I look at anything else. That's the first thing. I come from academia, and I'm a little on that. I like people to have, BFAs, MFAs. It's not required, but I just like to see it, because it tells me something about your base and what you've done. So.
And I'm a little prejudiced, though I didn't go to U of M. I like the University of Michigan talent. I'm just prejudiced. What can I say? I went to U of M. Believe me, I'll pay attention to you.
Oh, good to know. Okay, great. This has just been incredible. Thank you so much for such a quick and dirty and informative and in real conversation.
I got the dirty part.
I know I've benefited from it, and I'm sure that so many of us learned so much today. So much appreciation. And I look forward to our paths crossing at some point down the road. And thank you, SAG-AFTRA Foundation, for providing this for your membership.
Thank you. This was lovely.
Thank you. It was lovely. It was really, thank you for having me.
Thanks, Eric.
Thanks,
Thank
Eric.
you, Eric.